Greetings, and welcome to your Sunday edition of Dapper's Playhouse. I'm your excellent host, Dapper. This is my playhouse. That is where you find yourself today on this most terrific of Sundays. Hope it's going well for you. A little rainy where I'm at. Not sure about yourselves. But hey, if it's your first time, welcome. What we like to do here, search the TikToks, find you some interesting stuff, find you some funny stuff, find you some educational stuff, find you stuff that I'm not even quite sure how to qualify. So hey, maybe you can help. Interaction's key here. Let me know, and I'll let you know. So we can know, you know? So anywho, without further ado, I am going to get this party started. And here we go. Oh, except for the defense part. Hopefully it's not a sport with defense.
Things I'm no longer doing anymore since turning 48.
Okay.
Sorry, there's a whole section on the phone.
Yeah, it sucks when you start getting up there in age after you get out of the schools, man. That's about all the friendship really is. It's, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And it's always move, and it's always to like a, 8th floor or something. It's just, it means friends if that's what's gonna be, just moving all the damn time.
Call them, they'll be happy to help you.
Exactly.
Honestly, too busy for that shit. I don't have time to help you move. I'm sorry. I'm not
time,
going to the
bullshit.
movies after 6:30. It's too late. And those new places that have the amazing recliners, those are prime sleeping positions.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to the movies, period, not after any time. I can watch it all from the privacy of my own home.
And so I'm not going to pay to go see a movie to sleep. Plus, I'm only paying matinee prices. Sorry. Don't try to have a meaningful conversation with me if we are in a loud, noisy area. I can't hear you anymore. If we go somewhere shopping or whatever and there's people in line, I'm out. I'm not going to stand in line. I'm going to go home. I'm going to order my stuff on Amazon, Temu, Shein, whatever, and have it delivered to my door. If I'm talking on the phone with you and there's a bunch of background noise, there's kids screaming, dog barking, you're talking to somebody else while we're on the phone, I'm going to hang up on you. And if I say I'm going to call you back, I'm fine.
Hear that? Amen to all those things.
I full-heartedly believe that they should make the legal age to get a tattoo 25 because I should not have been given the privilege at the age of 18 to get something on my...
Yeah, but you could be just as immature at 25 as at 18, or indecisive, or just an all-around jackass. You could be that at 50. You could be that at 60. It don't matter. I mean, there's no age limit to stupidity or, just immaturity. So I'm not sure. Just like, I'm sure some 12-year-olds are mature enough. I guess it depends on the exact person, but I think laws are in place for a reason where we can all agree on 18 seems to fall to where, come on. And I think they put that with the schools and stuff, and with the military. Because if you can go into the military, naturally you could get a tattoo, you should be able to do a lot of things. That's why they allow the military to drink.
My body for the rest of my life because I have a sun and stars on my back, I have a palm tree on the side, and I have a live free right here. Let's be so for real.
Like what? You don't want to live free? Well, you think that's going to run out of fashion? Nah, I want to be owned someday. Said no one ever.
Where did all the goths go? I feel like because of TikTok and the internet, society's become more of a monolith. And now schools like they used to...
It is true, huh? Where did all the goths go? They're all gone. It's gone goths.
Preps, jocks, nerds, skaters, emos, goths. Now it's just kind of all the same.
Well, it's definitely not all the
I
same.
feel like our world lost equilibrium.
I think it's different now.
Everything's been out of balance since. Is it an economic downturn indicator? They can't afford the piercings and the chains anymore?
Could be.
Please help me find the goths.
Could be.
Here's how this roller coaster kills you. Each cart fits 24 people.
Hell, euthanasia coaster.
This 1,600-foot tower. And when you get to the top, people can choose to get off and leave, or keep riding. And they choose this by pressing a button. This is for death row patients, and it's another way for them to die that's a little more fun and exciting. Or humane, elegant, and euphoric in the designer's words.
Could you
Once they
imagine?
decide they wanna
I mean,
go
if you
down,
gotta go.
they go down the tower
I mean,
at
that's definitely not,
220 miles per hour.
boring.
It's really fast.
You know
So
what I'm
the
saying?
7 loop-de-loops on this ride get smaller and smaller, and this puts the body under so much stress that the brain is starved of oxygen, and the heart can't push up enough blood under all of that G-force.
Nice.
But this ride is pretty much designed to be so crazy that you lose consciousness and pass away because your body can't take it. They have a monitor on you. So if you survive the first time, they'll just put you through again. Also, if you're interested in watching a POV of this ride, I already have it posted. If
Oh,
you like
wow.
my content, follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
Oh shit, you see that? I just smacked him back? And he was like, what the hell is this shit? That took him for a fucking ride. He
Bro,
did not
while
like
I'm at the eye doctor,
Oh
right?
shit.
And she asked me to read the letters on the screen. So I'm reading the shit. And she paused and she was like, did you drive here?
That's never good. Right? You blind as hell. That's a nice way of saying that. Honey, you can't see shit.
Before this is over, I'm gonna need a whole lot of serious therapy. Look at my eye twitching.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Really hard. So yes, I sat down and I cried. Not shitting about it.
It does fucking hurt, yo. Horses put a bite on you.
Look at it, but
Damn, Carl.
I'm gonna bite you, and we'll see if you overreact.
Damn, Carl the biter.
Boys and girls,
Oh,
moms and dads, brothers and sisters, cats and dogs.
enough for you?
Welcome to the world of strawberry shortcake.
Who sleeps all night in a cake made of strawberry? Wakes up right in a cake made of strawberry. Living right in a cake made of strawberry. Strawberry shortcake. Wouldn't you know?
Yo, I will say this. I didn't really watch or any of that. But whenever I could get my hands on one of those little dolls, I don't know if they call them action figures or whatever, they smelled so good. The blueberry one and strawberry, they smelled so good. They went up to scratch and sniff Snickers, boy, they smelled good. You know what I'm talking about out there. I know you girls know what I'm talking about, but some of you dudes, and whether you had sisters or whatever, I know you know them damn dolls to smell. That was like the greatest thing.
Who sweeps her floors in a cake made of strawberry? Plays outdoors of a cake made of strawberry. Games and chores in a cake made of strawberry. Strawberry shortcake. Wouldn't you know? It's love that makes her garden grow with lots of pretty berries in a row. She greets each day with a berry glow. Strawberry shortcake. Wouldn't you know? What's it like to stay in a cake made of strawberry? Work and play in a cake made of strawberry. Learn the way of little Miss Strawberry. Strawberry shortcake. And you will know. Strawberry shortcake says you know.
Man, saying on some of them are loud as hell like that.
Why do clowns wear red noses? The answer might surprise you. Hi, I'm Timothy. I'm a performer, teacher, and storyteller with a passion for mime, clowning, and physical theater. I've spent the past few years performing on the streets of Chicago, producing
Not a
shows,
mime.
and teaching workshops to help others discover the magic of performance.
Anybody ever
Let's
seen Shakes the Clown? Go watch that shit.
talk about the red nose. The red nose is often called the smallest mask in the world. It's a symbol of play, vulnerability, and openness. Historically, some believe it came from early European theater and circus traditions, where performers used it to exaggerate facial expressions and signal to audiences that it was a time for laughter and lightness. Others see it as a connection to our most honest and playful selves. Clown makeup, including the red nose, is deeply rooted in functionality. In circus history, performers needed bold features and colors to ensure their expressions were visible from a distance. The Auguste clown's softer, exaggerated features contrast with the white-faced clown's precise designs, creating distinct personas. The red nose became a universal symbol of playfulness and mischief. But here's the thing. Not every clown needs a red nose, or any makeup at all. It's a choice, not a rule. Many great clowns and mimes perform with no makeup, and it doesn't make them any less engaging or authentic. The
I think
Red
it kinda
Nose
does.
isn't about what you wear. It's about the
I mean, you
play
couldn't tell
it
that guy was a
invites.
clown at
Wanna
all.
explore what that means? Let's connect. I'd love to share more about the art of clowning and how it can inspire your creative journey.
Clowning. The art of clowning. Quit that clowning around.
So Florida ain't the South. That's what I'm hearing. I've been living in Florida for the past 15 years.
You know, Florida's the only state where the further north you go, the more southern you get. And the further south you go, the more northern you get. That's just how it is. If you have made it down to like Ocala, you just about running out of southern. Like you got a little bit longer to go. If you make it to Orlando, you're done with the South. That's all I'm saying. Although it skips it and there can be some southern in Tampa. So it really depends on where you're at. It's such a big state. But usually the more northern you go, the more southern you get.
I've also lived in Georgia and I lived in South Carolina.
Comment down
I
below.
compare
Help
some
me
of
out.
these people, some of these places in Florida to those known southern states. There's a lot of similarities. Florida is definitely the South. The problem is a lot of people forget just how big Florida is. When they hear Florida, they automatically think of Miami, Tampa, Orlando. Yes, if you're basing Florida off of those three cities alone, then of course you're not going to think of Florida as the South. But Florida is a big state. You can't tell me the north part of Florida and like the panhandle part of Florida ain't the South. Those two areas alone, which is a large area in Florida.
It's pretty much should be
Panhandle
South Georgia
in
all the way
Florida,
down to
you're
Orlando.
bordering Alabama and Georgia. That is the South. Yes, as you get further south, it's going to change because you have a lot of people from up north, you got people from out west, you got people from the Caribbean. I live an hour north of Tampa. You know, I have coworkers that are from Brooksville, Florida. Brooksville is a very rural and southern part of Florida. And they ain't trying to be nothing else. It's growing out there in that area and they're mad about it. There's too many city folks coming. Like I said, I lived in southern states, but I came out here from California. They used to joke on me like, yeah, you don't know nothing about this southern living. You know, you don't know nothing about these country boys. And I'd just be like, I
Just
probably
look up
know
the
more
Florida
than you think I know,
crackers.
But you're right. Like I said, I used to live in southern states.
That's
There's parts of
very
Florida
southern.
that remind me of Hopkins, South Carolina. Southern and country as hell. So I get it. You know, there's definitely parts of Florida that does not feel like the South. But to say that all of Florida ain't the South, nah, I ain't going for that.
Nope, me neither. Florida's very southern.
You better be reusing your pickle juice because it's right there. You can just make more pickles.
I gotta confess, I drink mine. Anybody else out there drink their pickle juice? It's really good for you. It's very hydrating. It's fantastic. Comment down below, let me know. But this chick got a good idea too. She said just chop up more cucumbers in there, maybe fresh it up with some more dill, maybe some garlic. You in?
Chop up a cucumber, put it in your pickle juice, add more dill and garlic. It's pickles.
Yeah, man.
Are you a fries first or burger first kind of person? Because I didn't think there was a difference.
I gotta confess on this one too. I start off with a fry or two, and then I take a bite of my burger. And then guess what I do? I grab some more fries, and I take a bite of them. And then I take another bite of my burger. And then I have some more fries. I alternate. That way everything hopefully gets eaten about at the same time with a few fries usually left over. That if I'm in my car, I shoot out the window for the birds or the squirrels that are hanging around the joint. That you will always see. Who knows about that, huh? If you ever sit and eat at, like, say, like a McDonald's, you could throw a fry and the whole village, you feel like Snow White or something. The animals will come out of everywhere. They'll just be there. Crows, gulls, squirrels, you name it.
And then I realized
Good
that
times.
my husband eats all of his fries first and then his burger. And I'm the other
That's
way
kind of
around.
messed up.
I
I'd be
burger
worried
first
I'd get
and
full.
then I eat my fries.
And then I
So
wouldn't
either
even
way,
make it to my
you can end
burger.
up with, like, extra fries at the end or half of the burger left. So is that like a personality?
When do you
difference or
take a sip of
something?
your drink?
Did you guys know that when you see a stranger looking at you, you can just ignore them instead of asking them what the fuck they're looking at?
That's a sign of maturity and growing up. Eventually, you just not want to deal with anything. But when you're younger, no, you gotta fight every battle.
Think roosters are the only birds that crow at dawn? Meet their pint-sized counterparts.
Isn't that silly? Little quails. that's a big crow to them.
Very funny is when Europeans are like, you don't have racism, yeah. And then you ask them about like the giant blackface statue that's in the middle of town square, and they're like, oh, is that? So that's not racist. That is actually Kinderliga. And he is like a childhood character, and he lives in a hut, and he comes out and he meets children.
What?
But every year we have a parade where we all paint our faces.
No, that's hilarious. I know exactly what you mean.
And it's not racism, it's
But it's funny is you can't tell people what it is to them. You can't tell people how they think of something. You know, like the swastika used to be a very peaceful symbol. And then the Germans came at that time and Nazis and said, we're claiming this and it's going to mean this in our beliefs. You know what I mean? But, yeah, you can't tell them, no, it's not. That's what they chose. You know, it's kind of silly. I mean, it's an important thing to them that I understand that you can tell what you feel upsets you, but doesn't mean you can say what their intent is. You know what I mean? And how you take something, that's on you. You know, I always say if something bothers you, it's probably true. If you get offended over something, it's probably true. You know, life's too short to even worry about it. Names and shit, and he said this and that. What happened to sticks and stones may break your bones, and names will never hurt you. We've all gotten too soft, y'all. Comment down below with your thoughts. How flush toilets killed millions of Europeans.
Millions of Europeans when it was first invented. In 1594, a duke named John Harrington invented the first flush toilet.
Nice.
He presented it as a gift to Queen Elizabeth I, but the Queen didn't like it because the flushing
Guess Thomas Crapper
was
missed
too
out on that
loud.
one.
Everyone in the entire palace would know when she was defecating, and it was very unseemly. Before that, the royal family and nobles had always been using chamber pots for going to the toilet, and there were also enclosed toilets, which were actually just a box with a chamber pot inside. Louis XIV really liked sitting on it to defecate while receiving guests and socializing. It was so smelly that the ministers didn't dare to complain, even though they were angry. 200 years later, Joseph Brahma made the first flush toilet with a rotating valve. However, at that time, there were no sewers, and the toilets were directly connected to the River Thames.
Oh, shit.
This made
Literally.
the whole of London stink terribly. In
That explains a lot.
1831, people on the European continent
I
started
kid.
dying
I
one
kid.
after another because cholera arrived. It claimed the lives of millions of people. British thought that it was caused by the stench in the air. In 1848, they enacted the Public Health Act, requiring every household to install a toilet. This led to the accelerated pollution of the rivers, and cholera continued to run rampant. There was a young man named John Snow who found out that cholera came from water contaminated by feces, but no one
Indeed.
believed him until just before his death. It was not until 60 years later when the Vibrio cholerae was discovered that people realized he was right.
Isn't that shitty? Literally.
So I finished the puppet I was working on. I don't even remember what I said. Of the things that I did, but so there were guys
Yeah, that shit's great. I can tell already. It's gonna be a star. Please tip your waitress. I'll be here all weekend.
hoping it's not as duck-like. I don't know. It looked worse, weirder if I made that deeper, so just the lighting it helped.
That shit looks good.
Well, we're still working on a voice. But her name is Nova. She is a star.
She's pretty damn good. What happened to ventriloquism? Besides that Darcy girl that was on AGT. I mean, it used to be so huge back in the 70s. There was so much more of it. We gotta bring that back. I love it. Wow, she's really good.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make this work. That's big plans.
Big
It might look a
plans.
little silly, but
for your child to get a tattoo. If
18.
they are
That's the law. A child should not get a tattoo.
At what age do you think it is appropriate? I got my first tattoo when I was 15 years old.
Yo, shame on you and your mama for fucking allowing that. Or, I mean, I know I've heard about it. I've heard about it from, shit, you can ask almost any girl who has tattoos. She'd be like 14, 15. Because dudes out there are just criminal. Like, what dude would even tattoo a 14-year-old, even with their mom's permission? I would kick them both out of my shop, to be honest with you. I'd be like, you sleep on that, Junior. Come back later, you little fetus. There's plenty of time later for that kind of shit. Go live your life. You know what I mean? Get out of here, tattoos. They're not for kids. And just deal with it. And that's it. Sorry if you want to rush that shit, like we were talking about before. I mean, I'm sure they could be mature enough and make a great decision. But what's 3 years? You know what I mean? It's just, what's 3 years? Something magical about that number that's been deemed in society. So just wait. That's the best advice. But you're never going to look like a good parent if you get your 15 or 16-year-old kid a tattoo. You're just not. I don't care what they say to your face. They're going to go around the corner and majorly trash talk, which they're going to do anyway, but now you've given them more ammo.
And my daughter just turned 15, and she's wanting to get her first tattoo.
Tough shit.
I don't know if I'm going to be as lenient and as going as my parents were, but
Fuck no.
Dad,
Fuck no, keep dreaming. Fuck no, keep dreaming.
I got my first tattoo when I was 15, and then he got his first tattoo. So we got our first tattoos when I was 15. I don't remember.
Guys never get their tattoos that young. The dude will kick your ass right out of there, ever.
So the question is,
Ever.
how old do your children have to be to get their first tattoo? How old do you think it is appropriate? Let me know what you think.
Nope,
Wearing my
never.
glasses today in solidarity with my fellow Gen X nerds about a crime that was committed upon us by a movie classic called The Breakfast Club.
Oh shit.
You grew up in the 80s.
Probably some of the greatest lines to ever still be uttered, like till this day. So many lines in that movie.
In the 90s, you saw that
Excuse.
75 million times. In fact, you weren't allowed to graduate high school unless you could accurately recall what John Bender was given by his father for Christmas.
Fucking carton of cigarettes. A banner fucking year in the old Bender household.
School and come together for Saturday detention and learn that their differences are not all that different and couple up. Now you might be thinking, Jay, there's 5 of them. How do they couple up? Do they get into a polyamorous situation? No. Only 4 couple up. 1 is left to be by himself. The 4 that couple up are the athlete, played by Emilio Estevez, with the freak, played by Ali Sheedy. Judd Nelson's character, the rebel, John Bender, hooks up with Molly Ringwald's character, the princess. Who does that leave? What's that? It's Anthony Michael Hall.
And he's the nerd.
At the end of the movie, while those 4 are all hooking up, what is Anthony
But they did get him faded though.
He gets to write the essay.
You know, he got some of the best lines there. Chicks cannot hold their smoke. That's what it is.
You can have anything happen, and at the end of the movie, you have the nerd just be a nerd.
Like that, he got blazed up, yo. He got to blaze up. That was huge acceptance. Rite of passage for him. And that right, he totally became a man.
This was a crime. Was it the worst crime of the 1980s? No.
No.
But it was certainly top 3.
But he was the only one who could really do the essay, too. Everybody else would have foxed it up. I mean, he was the nerd of the operation. They kind of discussed that in the movie. You know what I mean? Even he does in the letter. He says, you see us how you want to see us. And he labels that off. You know? Even how he got in there. And he pulls the fucking trunk of the elephant lamp. The fucking thing just wouldn't come on. Come on, who's with me?
Why do cars have the capacity to go to 240 kilometers per hour when this speed is illegal?
Because they want you to do that because it plays into so many other businesses. You know, I mean, don't get me started on traffic tickets, insurance. You can go all the way down to the morgue, for God's sakes, cemeteries, priests, and I mean, God, there's so much business that comes in from you speeding. Just like from you drinking. That's why it's all legal. I mean, come on. There's money to be made. It's a business. Don't let me leave out lawyers, blah, 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 judges, blah, 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 blah.
Isn't that concerning?
Very concerning. Especially when, much like Sammy Hagar, you can't drive 55. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, just like that, we come to the end. Your Dapper Sunday Playhouse session. I hope it was everything you dreamed it could be. And if not, We're gonna start this next dreary Monday week off again tomorrow. Try to tune in if you can. I only have a few other requests, and that is, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you haven't, hit that notification bell if you so desire. And oh yeah, if you can't be good, be bad. And remember, you're never too old to play. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.